Hey, everybody, we are live, and I'm really excited because I haven't talked to this man in a long. It's been a long time, hasn't it?
Yes.
It's been too long. That's bad on me. Uh, he still got his beard, thank God. Hey, broke ass Stuart, man. Congratulations on everything you've done. Your great success with. I remember when you first started the brand.
It's been a
You
long
know,
time.
yeah, and I go back that far, and I'm like, wow, incredible. But I want you to tell me how is San Francisco doing, man? What's going on?
Well, don't believe the hype. Like, don't get me wrong, we have problems for sure. But I mean, like, and that's mostly just downtown San Francisco. The neighborhoods are flourishing right now. They're having a renaissance. Inner Richmond, North Beach, the Mission. There's so much cool stuff going on. The thing with downtown San Francisco, it was built with the 1906 mentality, or rather 1907 mentality, right? It was built for commerce and business in a 20th, early 20th century mindset.
Yep.
Whereas we are in the 21st century and things are changed. So this was going, and so when as a municipality and you put all your eggs in one basket and then that basket changes or falls apart, this is what happens. So a lot of this was going on downtown San Francisco anyways. The difference was there was also thousands of other people around going to work every day. So it was not as noticeable. But the first time I remember it was during the pandemic and I'd go on long walks every day. And I went down, it's like early COVID, walk down like maybe like, I don't know, like maybe third and second and like maybe Bryant over there kind of, and like and Folsom, and like there was like nobody there except a lot of the houseless people, right? And I was just like, oh wow, it's so much louder now because like a lot of that was drowned out by everybody, all the worker bees. So I mean, and don't get me wrong, we do have issues, and fentanyl really changed everything. It's a scary, scary thing. It's an ugly, ugly thing. I've known probably 6 people who've died from it, and these are not like these are just like because it's making its way into like the party drug supply too, and various other people thought they bought a Percocet, and boom, that kind of thing. And a lot of people I know who like are previous heroin users who gotten their lives together, gotten clean. They've said to me, "Oh man, I'd be dead. I'd be dead today if it was it was fentanyl." It's crazy. So don't get me wrong, that is complicated things. It's really really messed up. But I mean, the doom loop narrative is like somehow Fox News got under the skin of San Francisco and people are believing this crap.
Mm-hmm.
People like blaming the closing of Nordstrom's on downtown San Francisco is ridiculous. Malls are closing across the country, across the world, right? Yep. Once again, this is a business model made for the 20th century, not the 21st century, right? All these businesses, they're closing because they're like all the like Reddit and people like that who are no longer Market Street. They're not closing because they're closing because nobody wants to be there.
Yeah, you're right. It's easy to forget they're having problems before the pandemic.
Right. Their customers aren't. I mean, not their customers. Their workers aren't showing up. Right. What's the point of having 5 floors of office space if nobody shows up? But the thing is, the difference is like especially things like Nordstrom's or a Walgreens closing or something like that. Well, Walgreens is another thing. If you remember, they spent same with Oakland probably. Walgreens and CVS spent 10 to 15 years having a square footage war in the Bay Area, sure. Right? To see who can get more corners. That's unsustainable. So you can't blame. Don't get wrong. There's problems with with going on, and there's a lot of thievery. But like also, you have a Walgreens every 3 blocks. That's not sustainable. No. So the thing is like you have things like Walgreens, you have things like Nordstrom, you have these companies who they have corporate shareholders, right? They can't say to their corporate shareholders, "Oh, our business model is broken," because you can't do that to corporate shareholders. I think even legally, like we have a fiduciary responsibility to our shareholders, whatever. But like, so it's easier for them just to blame San Francisco and blame the problems of San Francisco, And once again, we do have problems, but don't forget there are inherent problems in these business plans, and so therefore it's they're coalescing into what we are having, and it's just a field day for the media who just wants to use San Francisco as a punching bag.
And that's what a question I have real quick is, why couldn't in an era where YouTube videos gain more views than TV shows, that city of San Francisco couldn't have called on you, me, a group of other people, even doesn't matter that I'm remote here, or I have my place in Oakland. But the whole point is, if you know how to put out things and your keywords are right, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah.
Why are they just out to lunch? What's going on? Why can they employ social media people to get out the real story about what's going on? Good, bad, and we've seen enough of the ugly, right?
Right. I mean, I'd love that. I mean, it would help people like you and I stay afloat too.
Yeah.
I would. I'm already seeing the praise of the city, anyways. I wouldn't mind getting paid to do it. But a bureaucracy works a lot different than a couple guys on the internet. And so because of that, like, there's so many steps that have to, like, even if you have a great idea, it has to get okayed by 25 people before anything happens. And maybe the people who are coming up with ideas aren't being heard, or maybe the ideas just aren't there. Or maybe they're smarter than we are. Maybe not, but maybe they're 10. Maybe they're playing 4-dimensional chess. But here's the thing: like, you can't keep San Francisco down. Downtown San Francisco will come back, and this isn't the first time we've been here. This is a boom and bust town. You talk to people who came here. Talk to my friends like John Law, who started like the Cacophony Society and Burning Man and all this stuff back in the day. When he came here in the 70s, he said that someone was burnt out. It was all like empty warehouses and SROs. You talk to people who were in the hate in the 70s. It was all boarded up storefronts. You look at what the redevelopment agency did to the Fillmore district.
Yeah.
And they bulldozed and pushed all the black people out of there. And they created blight by doing that. So like, this is not the first time we've been here, and we will always bounce back because it's San Francisco. We can't help the fact that we're one of the most beautiful cities in the world as well. So I'm not worried about San Francisco, and this is a good time for those who are here to appreciate it before the next boom happens. And once again, don't get me wrong, there are problems for sure. But really, the problems are the problem with the homelessness issue is that, like, we are dealing with a national issue on a local level, right? This is happening all over the country. The difference is, like, once again, the spotlight's on San Francisco because it's San Francisco, and because it's so small, it's so loud when you're here and you see it. But unless things change in this country, we're gonna have a lot more homelessness across the board. Like, people. I'm 42 years old, and my like, from basically below, younger than me, people can't buy houses. I don't have a house, right? And that's not just the Bay Area. That's across the country. I mean, really across the world. You're getting wealth management coming in and buying out neighborhoods and buildings, right?
Just so they can letting them. We're letting them. You're right. We're letting them.
Yeah, and on top of that, like, besides the fact that we are on an ecological crisis point, right? We're also at an economic one. In 20 years, AI and automation is going to replace so many jobs, and it'll create a few, but the amount of jobs that will be lost, just in, like, truck driving and Lyft and Uber alone, we're talking 5 million jobs probably.
And we should outlaw that to some degree.
I mean, what I think we should do, is we should tax the rich more and create basic universal basic income, so these people can. Also, like, if the captains of industry were smarter and thinking further ahead, they would be endorsing universal basic income too. Because once it's just robots, who's going to buy your shit if no one has jobs? Like, if you want to sell all your products, someone's got to buy them, and it's not just going to be all your other, like, 8 billionaire homies. Like, so.
Or maybe they think the robots are going to buy something from the robots.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Maybe.
Hey, I want to ask you, I don't expect you to know about the legislation. You might, though. 2 years ago, a friend of mine, Barbara Lopez, ushered through the California legislature something called AB 464 Mullen, and it will allow cities and counties to establish tax increment financing districts to use the property tax money to either be used as a bond issue for, or on its own, get this, give money to businesses, small businesses, this is in writing, that were hurt by the pandemic. This is on the law, in the books, and yet Oakland hasn't used it, and neither is San Francisco. What's going on? Yeah.
That would be great. I mean, I know there have been, I do get emails from the Office of Small Businesses. I don't know what's going on with them. But I don't know what Oakland's budget's like, but I know San Francisco's had a budget crunch, recently. That said, I'd love to see some of that money be spread around to small businesses.
Yeah, because basically, to explain how it works, because those who pay property taxes, or you can also use sales taxes too as a layer cake. But instead of those property taxes going to the wins of the different we call tax agencies, the city and county are going one thing, but you got BART, AC Transit gets some of that, and all so on. They all go to the redevelopment agency or the successor agency, and it says, "Hey, we've got this. We're going to establish this new grant program. We're going to put $40 million into it, and we're going to give out $2,000 grants to small businesses in San Francisco until we run out."
Sounds great.
Yeah, they could do that, Stuart.
I would love to see that.
They could do that. And yet what bothers me, and I've been screaming about this program, the possibility of using in this way for 7 years, and no one has done anything. In fact, the only person to listen to me regarding it using tax increment financing for their business and their use was Dave Cowell.
I don't know who that person is.
The president of the Athletics.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Of all the people, council members, I mean, I'm just putting it out there as a tool. I'm just saying.
What's that money being used for now? Do we know?
Various things. The way it works is that the board of supervisors would have to get together, and just being euphemistically, and say, okay, this designation area is going to be, we're going to use it to gather property tax for the successor agency to be used under AB 464 Mullen, and then we're going to establish the program ourselves under that. So they would get all that money. They would have already calculated how much they're going to be able to get from the bond issue, and then let the bond issue, and then the proceeds come from that, and they can just go right out to administering the program and doling out the monies if they want to do it that way. But the legislation against called AB 464 Mullen, MULLEN, signed into law by Gavin, 2021. I believe it was January 2021. Yeah.
Interesting. I'm gonna look at that because that's definitely. Now, one more question before Now, would it have to be an additional tax, or is it from the tax? Tax already there, so it'd be a set aside from where it's already happening.
Yeah, it's not an additional tax. It's a tax that's already being paid. It's just shifted. Right. To the idea basically is that part of it has to be used for schools. You don't touch that part, but there's the other. But that leaves 60%, actually more than that, to be used and collected by the redevelopment successor agency for that purpose. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna look into that. That's interesting.
Yeah, and if anybody tells you, well, we already have bond issues outstanding, we can't use it, tell them, have you actually calculated so that you can actually pay off those bond, the what's remaining, and go forward? They have reasons why they don't do these things, and you got people running around that basically hold governments hostage from actually doing what they can really do. I'm just saying.
I agree.
Just saying. Anyway, I want to know though, what's the fun stuff going on? I want to, I missed the Balboa. I haven't been to Balboa in years. I shouldn't say that, but I was going to say I was going to text a mutual friend of ours and keep saying,
yeah,
place. But what's your favorite place to go to?
Oh, it varies. I go out North Beach a lot. Specs and Vesuvio, Columbus Cafe, some of those old school bars. I read a column for SF Gate about bars, about dive bars and neighborhood bars, kind of the history of the bars, and and maybe the future. And so I got one coming out next week about The Page, which is in Lower Haight, which has been there for 20 years. It's a great bar.
Yeah.
It's funny. The older I hit 40 at the same time, and I hit 40 in 2020 during the pandemic.
40 at 2020.
Combination of hitting my 40s and the pandemic slowed me down. I don't know which one was more. Because before the pandemic, I'd go out 3-4 nights a week. Now I go out maybe 1 or 2, and I can't party like I used to because it just hurts the next day so badly. The hangovers are so bad now.
I'm waiting for that moment when you say, I'm not going to be drinking anymore.
I still like to drink. I just can't drink like I used to.
But because Grant and Green closed, that was hard. What happened with there? Do you know? It's just.
I don't know. It just got bought recently by the guys who, I think it's called the Tipsy Pig in the marina.
Yeah.
I don't know what Grant Green's problems were, to be honest. I don't know what the inside of the business looked like. I just know, it was busy enough, but maybe it was a business model that wasn't working anymore. I don't know.
Yeah. Is it of all the places, they have new restaurants going, what are you most excited about?
Oh wow, you know what's so funny? I've not been paying attention to the new restaurants lately.
Or bars?
Bars. You know, I go to such like old school bars. So what's a new bar?
Or new old school bar?
New old school, right? Yeah. I mean, I just go to like I was like you know, I was over at Emperor Norton's Booze Land the other day, and
Oh, yeah.
they built themselves as San Francisco's newest old bar, or something like that, or newest old school bar, something like that. You know, uh, yeah, I like you know. I'm a weirdo. Like, you know, I like bars that feel like Tom Waits songs, you know? So like the new flashy bars aren't necessarily my thing, you know. And I'm not as good as keeping up on like what is the new as much as I used to. But you know, I think there's going to be maybe more rooftop bars, which is kind of cool because that's something we can use because you know, with climate change, things are getting warmer in San Francisco, so more reason to be outside, you know. But I have noticed that you know, a lot of the parklets have come down because the program the city was instituting might be like too expensive for a lot of the businesses to maintain it. I think it's going to be like $2,000 a year to maintain it, and like and they had to hit a bunch of parameters, so it didn't work out. I think I really liked that program for a while because like it added so much more square footage to bars. You could be outside more. It was good.
You know, a bar, you talk about old school bars. I mentioned the Balboa, but wow, I haven't been to it's on well, what's wrong with me where I am I'm not having it, it it's
At least
it's
you're not. At least you're
go
not
ahead.
Mitch McConnell right now. At
Which one?
least you're not Mitch McConnell right now.
No, I would have frozen in place like that. But oh, you know, much respect to Mitch. I mean, I just have to say, I may run up running into him the way my life works, so I have to. No, I have a crazy life. But if you're over in Oakland, the alley
It's
is
a
my
great
bar. 3325 Grand Avenue. Jackie is my longtime friend. I love best steaks in the Bay Area. I would say, you know, not
bold statement.
yeah, oh yeah. And then, you know, I haven't been to. There are two places that have Irish coffee. The Balboa has great Irish coffee. Buena Vista as well. I haven't been to Buena Vista in some time. That's another favorite of mine. Um,
It's great. Yeah, classic. I was there a little while ago. I don't remember when. My wife and I were walking around there. I think we just popped in for one.
how is Fisherman's Wharf right now?
We were there recently. It was busy.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, you know, tourism is not at 2019 levels, but it's coming back for sure.
Yeah.
You know, because people forget, like, you know, besides you have tech, and you know, this was a tech town, this was an advertising town, right? Besides all that, though, the number one industry in San Francisco,
Yeah.
the number one industry in San Francisco is tourism, by far. You know, and everything that goes, and then alongside with that, you know, you have the nightlife and food and beverage, you know, goes along with that. But tourism is the number one industry, and so and it's you know it's back. It's not once again not like 2019, but you know nothing's like pre-pandemic quite yet. You know,
Is
uh,
1015 roaring now then for Folsom?
what's
Is that
that?
1015 Folsom? There used to be another
Oh yeah,
hang.
it's still there as far as I know.
I love that place. Oh boy.
I've been there in a while. I think last time I saw Big Boy performing, but that was a while back.
Wow. That yeah. No, it's been. Let's see. I've I've been there. I remember the old Galaxy Bar. Used to go there quite a bit.
In the
And
TL, is that what that was?
that was the Galaxy was actually in North is it was in Soma, but it was on I want to say Folsom. I'm blanking. It's then they closed it down. But when ad tech was raging, although I've been around a lot sooner than that. But I mean, my point is, I used to go there a lot, and then the Mars Bar.
That's still there.
Yeah, well, you'll never guess. I had the wildest experience at the Mars Bar. I went there one time for this wasn't so wild as that was interesting, but a friend of mine said, "Hey, I want you to meet a friend of mine. You guys are, it was a fundraiser for a friend of mine who was running for mayor. It was Brian Parker. He lost to Libby, but to make a long story short, his friend that he introduced me to was a guy named Brian Armstrong, who was working on Coinbase.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah. That's how I got my first Bitcoin. Yeah. So I mean, you play your cards right. I haven't gotten rich, obviously, but
Yeah,
Mars Bar is the place.
should have sold it when, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Mars Bar is the place to go, and then I have. Let's see. I went to places like remember on the corner there in it's across from the Hotel Vintage. And they at one point they had the best steaks everywhere. They had this tremendous roast beef, and it's just down from Ozumo, but it's on the corner.
Oh yeah, there's one in Oakland too. I think I don't know if there still is, but there was one in Oakland as
That
well.
Ozumo closed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was open, and it is open for 6 years, and then it closed.
Mm.
And then I was there, and but then there was this other place that's on the corner there. That's like I want to say Spring Street, Spring Street, and then you
Oakland?
this is in San Francisco now.
Mm-hmm.
Spring Street, and then you hit it's like you're on your way to the if you're on your way to the market, the ferry building, and they have the restaurant up front, right?
Oh, I mean, there's so many great ones. There's what's it called? The Boulevards over there, right?
Right, that's it. Boulevard. Boulevard.
But
Boulevard at one point had the best roast beef I've ever had in my entire life.
they might still. I mean, I mean, that's. I've only been there once. An ex-girlfriend took me there years ago for my birthday, but that place was spectacular.
Well, I used to live there. Oh my god,
I think they just, if I'm not mistaken, I think that during the pandemic they redid the interior. So I mean, I don't know. I haven't been back. I've been there like 13, 14 years. If any of your fine viewers want to take me out to Boulevard, let me know. But yeah, I like a good meal. Yeah.
What's your favorite place to go? Where can people find you out and about?
I mean, it depends on what's going on, because it's usually about like event-based stuff. So lately, I've been traveling a lot. I didn't travel for a few years. I did travel
outside lands. I know because I was.
No, I actually missed outside lands this year. I usually go, but I was in. It was my buddy's bachelor party. We were in Baja.
Oh, okay, okay.
Which was amazing, and we were a bunch of dudes in our 40s, so the bachelor party was so tame. We like. I've actually known everybody there. The guy who I've known the least amount of times was since 7th grade. Everybody else I've known for like almost, some of them like for like, everybody I knew for over 30 years. So we're a bunch of just like guys in our 40s, literally like drinking and playing board games. It was like we like rented like a house on the beach, and so we went out on the water. It was like 80 degrees. It was beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah, I did travel writing for so many years. I've traveled so much, and I didn't travel for a few years because of the pandemic. So I've been traveling a lot more this year. I did New York in July. My wife had never been there as an adult. Mexico last month. There's Mexico this month. A wedding in San Diego next month. New Orleans in October, and then I got a crazy cheap deal to Hong Kong in November. Got 2 foreign tickets, and I was like, my wife can't go because she has something going on. So me and my buddy are going to Hong Kong for a week.
Are you monetizing your trips as a
I would like to. I'm not that deep into the travel writing scene anymore, and it's changed a lot since the days when I was doing it. So
how is it? I'm curious.
What's up?
How has it changed?
Well, when I first started doing it in 2006, I was, Lonely Planet was still family owned, and it was TripAdvisor and Yelp hadn't taken over the world yet, and so the guidebooks were still really powerful. And like the Wheelers who owned Lonely Planet, who started, they sold like coincidentally at the right moment. They sold for like 250 million US dollars, and then they sold to the BBC, and I think the BBC ended up selling it for like 50 million, like less than 10 years later. So that, just, what's really changed about travel.
I call that Holy Sports Illustrated, because you and I can buy Sports Illustrated right now.
That's terrible for them.
or maybe, but that.
Yeah, and unless some like creative people do like what they did with the GameStop thing, and all of a sudden it becomes a hot thing. But I'm not smart enough for that. But yeah, we really Yelp and TripAdvisor really came out and really fucked things up for a lot of. Here's the thing: the more I think about it, because I'm a '90s dude, right? I was a teenager in the '90s. I remember the dream of the information superhighway seemed so beautiful, right? As a concept, you give people access to more information, they would be smarter and they would learn more. Yep. But what we didn't realize is that we totally took the guardrails off, right? Like I'm not saying that we need gatekeepers for everything, but I think that we do need a certain amount of gatekeeping for what is real, what is good and what is just like, for example, like, as we see with disinformation and misinformation, as we're seeing, because there's no gatekeeping of what bullshit, A lot like today, I saw a headline where people are literally stopping. They're no longer not a large lot of it, but enough assholes are not giving their dogs vaccinations for rabies because they don't want their dogs to get
Jeez.
autism. It sounds like something from the Onion, but it's not. Anyways, so back to travel stuff. Like Yelp and TripAdvisor gave everybody it was like opinions like assholes. Everyone has one.
Yep. Yep.
And so it gave power to the grumbling masses as opposed to people who the amount of people who have like 1 or 2 reviews on Yelp are going to have 2 negative reviews because they're not going to take time to write something when it's positive. All they do is write about when they have a bad experience, right?
Yep.
And so therefore, when you just, whereas back when the travel writers were really doing like guidebooks and stuff like that, I mean, there still are, but it's a different scene now. These are experts in their fields who are writing about these places, people who lived in places or who like really studied them and spent time there. Instead of well, I'm just gonna believe, Joe from Idaho about the best things going on in Hong Kong,
Yeah. Say, why are you believing him? Well, he's got a lot of followers. A lot of
right.
Okay.
So anyways, it's all changed a lot. But anyways, so back to what you're saying, I would like to monetize these travels. I'd like to sell articles, but I'm so busy right now between doing Broke-Ass Stuart and doing freelance writing and a couple projects I'm working on. I've got a new book coming out next year. Yeah, it's a collection of all my work. It's going to be called The Worst of Broke-Ass Stuart. It's going to be a manic depressed. It's coming out like just about a year from now. So I'm hopefully I am turning the manuscript in October. But luckily, writing this book's pretty easy because it's all mostly already written. It's all already written. I just got to collect it and collate it and jazz it up a little bit.
Hey,
that project, and then there's always other projects. Oh, here's a cool project. We just you see this?
Yeah.
This Coit Tower.
Yeah, Coit Tower.
It's a dildo. So it's like everybody who's ever said "fuck San Francisco" now they can. So yeah, I'm calling it Coitus Tower.
Well, I'm gonna have to put the age restriction on this one.
Yeah. If you Google Broke-Ass Stuart Coitus Tower, it'll come up and you can buy one.
Hey, I'm gonna ask you. Speaking of your expertise, what's going on with something I've always wanted to go to, but have never been to, and all of my friends, including yourself, have been to multiple times, I believe in your case, Burning Man.
It's happening as we speak.
Yeah.
I went there once, 2004, which is almost 20 years ago, and it was great. And I'd like to go back, but it's every year. It's like I've only got, I'm not rich, and I work for myself, and and so like I've only got so much time and so much money, and I also like to travel. So it's like I could go to Black Rock City again, or I could go to Mexico City. I could do this, so I choose lots of other places. I try to leave the country once a year, so I really can't do both. But it's Burning Man's happening as we speak. And I'm sure it's great. It's an incredible.
I just heard something that, and I'll just double this out, that it was not what it used to be because they said that. I'm hesitant to say. I'll just say it. Hipsters had taken it over. It became too popular. It's a refrain I've heard over the past 10 years, and I looked at scenes from the playa based on what Instagram posts there were, and it looked like fewer people, but not much. When I say fewer, I mean maybe like 10% fewer.
Right.
But it doesn't look like it's suffering, which is a great thing. Not that I wanted to.
Right. I mean, I know that it was easier to get tickets this year than other years. I mean, right before Burning Man, the week before, there's always tons of tickets around because people people buy tickets when they go when it comes out, and then life happens, so people get rid of them. I know there was more this year than previous years, and I don't know the macro economic reasons for that. But I mean, maybe people are just there's other alternatives to that now, smaller festivals that people go to. But I mean, let's say
a playoff situation that had to maybe played a role, or
that could definitely be part of it too. Honestly, I don't really know. I do know it's hard, but at the same time, we're adding all these jobs to the economy. Apparently, I don't know. But
there's a lot of fakery out there because I actually applied to be digital, and I actually made a video about this. Digital marketing director at a consulting organization in Mesa. I've been doing it remote, of course. And there was a woman named Trisha Williams, who said that she was the HR person, and uh, she asked me to fill out a document which was like a credit check, and I thought it was odd, but then I remember thinking it was odd, and I had forgot to fill it out, and I
Good.
was looking for it, and I thought, oh my god! So I actually called the company, and the lady said, "We don't have anybody by that name that works here." I said, "So are you aware that you have an opening for a digital marketing director?" And she said, "We don't have an opening for that. We have one." Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I wound up talking to the owner of the firm, who was mad that I made a video about what happened. I said, yeah, but look, if you're on top of this sort of thing, and you should be happy that I'm telling you, uh, it doesn't happen. But I find that this is rampant all over the place. Fake jobs, fake HR people, and none of this is counted in in what's going on. And then I checked what's called the labor force participation rate, and but for two states, our state and I believe New York, the labor force participation rate is at 50%, which means that of every two people, one of them is out of the workforce. That's the person that may be on the street. That's the person that may be on their RV cruising around the country doing a pop up, but they are non-traditional and not counted for because they don't work for those big organizations like we were taught to do so, right? And getting the big pensions. And that's scary because I'm thinking, okay, there's only one place this can go, more that way than the way we're used to.
Oh, that's the truth. That's happening, man. That's going to happen. We have to go back to our earlier conversation about jobs disappearing through automation and and AI. That's going to happen. And like, it's going to start with writing and stuff like that. They're already having like robots, like automate AI do like lawyer shit.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny. I remember you were talking about. You said that at one point you thought that that would be the gatekeepers. We have these gatekeepers. I remember about that time, 2009. 2010. I interviewed Phil Bronstein, and about the future of media. It's on. You can still see here on ZENNIE62 YouTube, and he said to me that he felt was going to be the role of the journalist then, but it doesn't seem like it turned out that way. Any thoughts as to why that might be?
The future of media being what, the journalists themselves?
The journalists would be like the gatekeepers, would be the ones that said, hey, here's the right kind of news. It seemed like it was going that way in a bit. And now it seems like the journalists are just as much bought and paid for as anybody else.
I mean, it's an economic thing, man. I mean, like, there's no money in this thing, and then like on top of that, you have now pretty much almost everything's pretty much just one company, which is Meta, but I guess you also have Twitter or whatever. But like these algorithms, you spend your whole life trying to please an algorithm just to get the word out there about what you're doing, So you start changing, you start making your headlines more sassy, and you make your imagery more extreme. And then people don't read as much, so suddenly like everything just becomes the headline and the image. It's like and because you're pleasing an algorithm.
Yep.
So an algorithm which is being created by a company who's siphoned all the money out of advertising in journalism. So it's a fuck you situation. Like I'm lucky to be doing what I'm doing, knock on wood, because I'm just dumb and stubborn enough to keep doing it. But a big thing is the main reason we can do this every month, and I say we because it's me, my business partner, lots of editors, writers. The main reason I can do this every month is because of my Patreon. Because around 600 people, and then also some people on PayPal give us money every month. Because they believe in what we're doing. Otherwise, I mean, I don't know what I'd be doing. I definitely couldn't be doing this anymore.
That's a resource. That's it. You ever thought of taking what you do and making a kind of a YouTube live version of it? Because there's some people pull out a lot of money from that.
Yeah, I mean it is, but it's I'm always trying to do something a little more, but there's so much to do in so little time and only one me. Like I should be making more stuff on Instagram. I should be making more content, but at the same time, like I also want to live a life.
Yeah, yeah. That same here. Speaking of which, well, let me ask you before I get too far away from this. Are you running for mayor?
No, I'm not. Definitely not.
See how I ease that in there?
But somebody recently posted. Somebody sent it to me. There's political public interest questionnaires going around. They call you or they send you emails, fill out this. And one of them said, who would you vote for mayor? And it's like London Breed and Phil Ting and people like that. And then and Broke Ass Stuart was on there too. I was like, that's great.
Yeah, which I was going to ask you because I saw that. How did you score out?
Oh, I don't know. The people, I mean, it's private information. They're not going to tell me. But I mean, when I ran for mayor in 2015. I got just about 20,000 first place votes because it was ranked choice voting. So that's like 10% of the vote, which is not bad for a guy who shouldn't be mayor.
That was before the pandemic. Why not give it another shot?
I don't want to be mayor.
That's a good reason. Like I don't want to be from mayor of Oakland. That's what.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, San Francisco is great, and there's a lot going on here. But can you imagine being mayor of this fucking thing going on here? Like,
I used to think for a time, yeah, that would make a difference. But I went back to what I believed in grad school is that politics is too important to be left to politicians. And I think now today, you can get as much done and be as effective as any elected official, particularly with, social media and everything else. But hey, I want to ask you though, since you don't want to be mayor, how's London Breed doing?
I've never been a big fan of London Breed personally. I think.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I've seen her take the wrong stance on so many things.
Okay.
And this is going back. I'm old school. This is going back to 2014 when it was Prop G, and it was just we were basically trying to tax speculators because we were like, the tech had just boomed and all of our friends were getting evicted. And there was this great thing out there that was like, to stop people flipping homes. That if you bought a place, you try to sell it within, I think, 3 or 5 years, there'd be an extra 25% fee on top of that. And it was to stop speculation. And she went with the realtors on that one, right?
Yeah. Yep.
She was a renter herself and went with the realtors on that one, And then in 2018, it was Prop C, which was going to put a less than 1% tax on any company in San Francisco that made over, I think, $50 million. So we're talking Twitter, Hyatt,
right. Yeah.
And that money is specifically to fight homelessness, and now that did pass, but she voted against that, took the wrong side of that one,
Yep.
She's repeatedly I don't think served the people of San Francisco, the regular working people of San Francisco. I give her props for how she handled the pandemic, and especially the beginning. But I've never been a big fan of her politics personally. And she's in a tough place right now because she's managed to be piss off the right and the left in San Francisco.
No mean trick either.
Talent,
What do you think? Out here, I'm 3,000 miles away roughly in 3 hours. And it seems like we have what I consider to be a rather psychotic attack on the LGBTQ community. When you live in the Bay Area, you grow up in the Bay Area, the one thing that I think you'll agree with what I'm about to say, you get used to is that everybody is who they want to be and they're cool who they are.
Yeah.
What the heck is going on, you think? And is it starting to affect San Francisco?
Well, here's the thing. What's has been going on since the beginning of this country, right? This is they're profiting off our fears and our worries and our insecurities.
Right.
They are literally profiting off it. You have Fox News making money off getting views from shitty people who are scaring people. But the other TV news people are doing it too, and all of them, right?
Yep.
These are corporations that are feeding us our realities, right? People they should be worried about their children, but they're worried about the wrong people. If you're actually worried about it, something like 95%, or I think 95%, or 90 or 95% of the people that are sexually abused are abused by people who they know, right? These aren't strangers in a bathroom, right? And the amount of clergy members, the amount of Boy Scout leaders, the amount of counselors that abuse children, and obviously across the board, that's not the case for all of them. But there's far more of that than random strangers in a bathroom attacking your child. Drag queens at a fucking story reading thing attacking your child. This is ludicrous. But the problem is, the people who have the power in this country and have the money in this country know that if we realize that we all have more in common, then we have different, we can win. We can tear them down. We can stop the levers of industry from moving. We can shut it all down. So they have to keep us fighting. But they've been doing that since the beginning of this country. Back when white indentured servants and black slaves in America started running away together and joined up together, the second they could convince the indentured servants that they were white and that made them better, that's caused friction between people that were working together to help bring down the people who had the power. That's the story of this country, right? They're just doing it differently now. They're doing it through social media and television instead of, at the end of a cattle prod, But like, but we have to know, and I think the biggest problem is like, once again, because now everybody does have a voice, people are busy talking and not listening. It's easy to tweet something out and then not respond because it gets
but is that really talking? I never thought of tweeting as talking. I always thought of it as texting. I was like,
well, you know what I mean. It's getting that out there. It's not a conversation, is what I'm saying. You know, and the thing is, like, if we could get people on the left, people on the right, if we could have more real conversations about the fact that we have more in common together than the people at the top.
Amen to that. Yeah.
Poor black people, poor white people have more in common than rich white people and poor white people. Poor queer people and poor straight people have more in common with each other than rich straight people and poor straight people. The thing is, poor people don't realize how rich the rich really are. If you make $1 million a year, you're making over $83,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are numbers. A million just is a make-believe number.
Yeah, that's right. That is mind-boggling. You think about it.
You break it down, $83,000 a month is a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right. That's if you make $1 million a year, right? So people who have the power have the money, and they don't want to give it up. So they pay people like Tucker Carlson to scare his viewers into and these people may not even know what's happening because it's so ingrained in what we're doing. But I tell you what, I am pro-queer. These are my friends, my family, my loves.
Yeah.
We got to, more than ever now, we have to stand by our people because like what's going on now is wrong.
And I remember I graduated from Skyline class of 80, and at the senior prom we had gay couple. Was it an issue?
That's great.
80. Okay. Who cares? I mean, I'm busy trying to get the cheerleader. Well, actually, I was disappointed because April turned me down to go to the prom. But anyway,
at the reunion, it'll be fine.
I tried that one. I missed my reunion. I'm on my 40th reunion, but not 40th, but I mean 40.
Right.
Wouldn't that be a play for immortality? But
The good thing is I got hope for the youth. I think the youth are seeing through the bullshit because they're noticing they're the ones who have to inherit this fucked up earth and like see like these petroleum companies, these oil companies are lying and destroying our future just to make more money for shareholders, as opposed to like actually caring about anything like the future of their children and their grandchildren. And so the youth seem to know what's up, and I got faith in them. The problem is all these old fuckers won't die who are in Congress and they won't retire. And like we're not gonna have any change as long as we have these fucking dinosaurs still making laws.
Is that just like you think Diane should quit?
Years ago.
Yeah.
She could be. Is she there even? No, right? Mitch McConnell.
The only reason I cry is because I worked advanced for her campaign when she was running for governor, and then she endorsed my Super Bowl bid when I was working on that for Oakland, and I just love her to death. I'm sorry to.
It's about 30 years ago.
Go through this, huh?
It's about 30 years ago.
Yeah, but in my I remember being born, so go figure.
I think we should have term limits or age limits on government. We should have same for Supreme Court justices. We can't let these fucking relics, these fossils, make laws and rules for times where they won't be alive for. They don't have to have the impact of them.
Yeah, my mom talks about the same thing. She talks just like you do. My mom will be 89. So she's saying, I know what it is. My mom says, I know what I'm going to tie this up.
I mean, Joe Biden is like 81 or something like that.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be president,
No, it's yeah. But does that mean we get Trump?
I mean, fuck Trump. He should not be president either. But he's just almost as old,
I got you. Remind me of something that a fellow that I met said this. I'm going to play this for you because I think you might recognize. He said this to me, and it was a weird encounter and a beautiful thing. But heck, you might even met the guy, and I don't know. But it was. Let's see. Here we go. There we go. Excuse me. Okay, there. And trying to find that. YouTube is not kind to me when it comes to trying to find my videos. Why? I don't know.
You have to send it to me.
Well, what's happening is that I'm searching for this video I want to show you, but it's giving me everybody else's instead of mine, even though I'm typing this person's name and then ZENNIE62. So I'm going to go this way and take that out. And there he is. Yeah. Okay. Now here it is. And I'll play that for you. This man I happened to meet in a very odd way. And I'm putting it right here, and you're going to see it because he said something that you said that I thought was just really quite interesting. And ta-da! Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, and this is what happened. So yeah.
Folks, I'm not a morning person, but I have to give a shout out because hey, this man, cool guy, cool.
You too.
Yeah. Super Shuttle people definitely rock. So we're getting coffee here in the morning, right over there. Okay, and hold that thought. I'll get you. Anyway, it's great to be out and see Oakland alive, and this man behind me has a message he wants to send. Go for it.
Hey, boss, go for it. So we out here, you feel me? Oakland, USA. You know what it is.
What's your name?
Oh, my name is Angus.
Angus.
Yes.
What do you think about the administration and everything?
The administration? Well, my thoughts are, fuck Donald Trump. Point blank period, hands down. Hopefully. He should not be the president. It's not right. It just shows the stupidity of the country, in my opinion. I don't know.
No, that's hey. Opinions valuable. We have to maintain democracy, right?
Yes, sir.
That's the main thing. Yeah, and get your coffee, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we both need coffee. Hey, thanks a lot.
Yes, sir.
So anyway, up early, shout out. Yeah, thank you.
That was what
People like him, big Oakland rock. Him too. Thanks, man. Yeah, thank you. Cool.
That's good. Yeah, I never met Angus, but a lot of people I know knew him, and he seemed like a good kid.
That was totally random. What happened was
he was before the show, right? It wasn't not even the show yet.
No, that was 2017. That was a Sunday morning. I was taking the Super Shuttle. The guy in front of me was driving, and I needed coffee, and he was kind enough to stop. And I love to vlog, right? And so what happened is as you saw it. No editing. I had zero idea his life would take that trajectory until someone actually saw that video, tagged it, put it, and said, "Hey," and I thought, "Whoa, what?" Yeah. So I mean, rest in peace, man. He's such a. I thought maybe he had a chance to meet the brother.
I did not, but a lot of people I know knew him, and it seemed like he was a good kid, honestly.
Yeah, he definitely is. Hey, okay, so London is not your jam, but is there anybody on the board of supervisors that is?
I mean, I like a lot of people. I mean, like I like what Dean Preston does a lot of times. I like Hillary Ronan. But I mean, here's the thing: I like what people do sometimes. I also don't like what the same people do sometimes. Everybody has. I don't even agree with me. I don't agree with myself all the time, let alone anybody else. We all got a lot going on, and like the thing with San Francisco, and I have to got to go after this. But the thing about San Francisco is that because we agree on so much here, it's the little things that we don't agree on that became such big things, right?
Yep.
Some of it's ridiculous, like the fucking Ferris wheel in the park was this thing, and it's like, I don't want to hear about it. Shut the fuck up. There's so many better things to fight about than a Ferris wheel in the park. So it's a little cartoonish sometimes in San Francisco because we do agree on a lot of the same things.
Some of my viewers who may not know about that, what's going on?
A few years ago, there's the Ferris wheel in the park, and some people were like outraged that it was happening, and they're like, the birds can't sleep or something like that. And it's like, maybe that's true, but also like they may move to other trees, or also like, can they sleep? I don't know. Are there also basically it was a bunch of NIMBYs who was like, I don't want people to have fun in the park. It's bright out sometimes when I look out the window, but it's a fucking Ferris wheel in a park. Let it be, But one of those things where it's not even worth getting my nose into because like nobody really wins with these things. But but we agree on so much in San Francisco. We agree on generally speaking that people deserve universal health care. People deserve should be able to marry the person they love. And we agree on so much here. And so when things we don't agree upon, it gets ugly. And then somebody said, some people attribute it to David Chu, but I think somebody else said it before him that politics in San Francisco, it's like a knife fight in a phone booth. I'm gonna leave you on that because I got to get going.
All right, boss. Hey, stick around in the background, folks. I want to thank him. I love to give him and Johnny love on the same thing. That would be great. I haven't seen Johnny in a long time either. You don't have to move a muscle, folks. Subscribe to ZENNIE62. Bookmark OaklandNewsNowBlog.com and ZENNIE62 and Zennie Report. Check out the ZennieReport.com. That ends this broadcast. Thanks, man. Appreciate you doing this.